Hi, everybody. Today is an exciting day for your fantasy story planning because today we are working on developing a secondary character. And in this case, a secondary character is going to be your villain. Okay. So a villain is known as the bad guy in the story, often working for evil purposes to destroy the main character. Now, we wanted to give you three different types of villains. You don't have to use one of these. These are just ideas that you can choose from to see if one of these could fit into your story. So here are some ideas. This is funny. There's a mustache twirler. So, known as the simple villain in most children's stories, creates dangerous situations for the main character to overcome. And when they say a flat character, it means that we don't know much about them and they don't really change, right? Another villain type that you could use is ancient evil. So it's a classic villain for epic fantasy story. Something evil and long dormant or inactive and sleeping had come back, and heroic action will be required by the main character to save the city or the world. So examples include witches, zombies, and different creatures in Greek mythology. And then finally is the mastermind. So you could make a villain that's this type: a clever villain who's always thinking one step ahead of the main character, usually very intelligent and inventive, and will do anything to beat the intelligence of the main character. And some examples are a mad scientist, an evil doctor, or an evil professor. So you're going to use maybe one of these, maybe you don't need to use one of these. These are just some ideas to create a villain or an evil character, because one common theme in fantasy is good versus evil. So you've developed your main character. Now let's think about your villain, and I'm going to show you how I did this. So we're using the same character chart that we used yesterday for our main character, but this time for our villain. So our villain that we are creating for this world is Damian Bates. His physical description, or what he looks like: he's fairly tall and skinny. He often wears a black cape and black leather boots and lives on a steep hill on the coast of Garlock by the ocean. His face naturally has an evil grin, but he can easily also make himself look innocent and peaceful. He also sometimes wears villager clothes when going through the village to blend in with the people of Garlock. So, very specific description here. Now, let's move on to his personality. He is very clever and intelligent. He is observant and can easily blend into a crowd. He feels the need to control everything that comes his way and has an intense desire to gain power. So, we included lots of traits here that are going to play a part in the story that we're thinking about developing. What is this character like? He is a very hidden and reserved character, meaning like keeps to himself. We don't know a lot about what he enjoys because he is so overcome with his need to dominate or take over Garlock. However, towards the end of the story, we found out that deep down he seeks friendship and love from the people of Garlock. So we're already thinking about how our story is going to go. His strengths: Damien's biggest strength is his ability to be two-faced. He is evil and twisted when acting on his plan to take over Garlock, but in front of villagers, he is charming and has an innocent presence. Weaknesses: without power, he lacks confidence, and this is what fuels his desire to gain power. He can break down when he feels he is losing control and being defeated. He has a deep need to control things because of his childhood, where he was bullied by others for who he was and how weak and passive he was as a child. Meaning, like, since he was bullied, he didn't really stand up for himself and he let people walk all over him. So, we really took the time between yesterday and today to develop and give background on these two characters, because their lives are going to play important parts and their personalities are going to play important parts in the plot of our story that we're going to plan out tomorrow. So, what you're going to do today, after you watch this video, you're going to go back into your planning document that you've been working in all week, and it's going to be linked again in this assignment. So you have your story ideas, you have your setting, you have your main character in here from yesterday. And now today you will develop your villain. So you're using the same chart that you used for your main character, but this time for your villain. So really think about it. Think about how this villain is going to play on your main character's weaknesses, right? Like, how are they going to go against each other? What are they going to be fighting over? And how are their personalities going to play a part in this? Now, some of you might be wondering, can I also create like sidekicks and friends for my main character? And of course, all right. So what you can do if you'd like is add in another slide. So what you can do after you develop your villain, you can make slide, duplicate slide, which means like make a copy. So now I'd have another slide with a character chart. And instead of developing my villain again, I could change this to develop a sidekick or whatever you want to say. Okay. And that's up to you. You don't have to do this. It's totally your decision if after you create your main character and your villain that you decide to create a sidekick for your main character also, because many stories have them. All right. Now, all of our minor characters like friends and family, like mom, dad of main characters, you don't have to really think those through. We're not going to be focusing on those characters so much. So the only other character besides main character and villain I would suggest is a sidekick that's going to travel, if that's going to happen in your story, that's going to travel with your character throughout the story. Okay, good luck, and we can't wait to see what you guys come up with. Bye.